بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد. The Quran makes several references to dreams. Dreams are things that we see while we're sleeping, and they may or may not have any relevance to realities. The dreams of Prophets ﷺ are a part of the revelation that they receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their dreams are always true. The Quran talks about the dream of Ibrahim alayhi salam. يَا بُنَيَّ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ فَانظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى. He is shown in his dream that he is slaughtering his son Ismail alayhi salam. So he asks Ismail alayhi salam what he thinks about this. And of course, Ismail alayhi salam says, Ya abati fa'al ma tu'mar. You go ahead and do what you are being commanded. So Ismail alayhi salam also understood that this is a command coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his father that he should carry out. Similarly, the Quran makes a reference to the dream of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he saw prior to the Umrah of Hudaybiyah, in which he sees himself and his companions entering Mecca and doing tawaf around the Kaaba and completing their Umrah, and some of them have shaved their heads and others have trimmed their hair. So in Surah Al-Fath, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَقَدْ صَدَقَ اللَّهُ رَسُولَهُ الرُّؤْيَا بِالْحَقِّ لَتَدْخُلُنَّ الْمَسْجِدَ الْحَرَامَ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ آمِنِينَ مُحَلِّقِينَ رُؤُوسَكُمْ وَمُقَصِّرِينَ. So that dream was true, even though it was not meant to be fulfilled at the occasion of Hudaybiyah. But the Prophet ﷺ's journey to Hudaybiyah became the source of a very great treaty, and it opened up the doors of guidance for thousands of people. And then his dream of Umrah was realized the year after that. Surah Yusuf also has reference to a few dreams. The surah itself, or the story, it begins with the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam. And in this dream, he sees أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. He sees 11 stars and the sun and the moon, all of them coming and prostrating in front of him. He relates this dream to his father Yaqub alayhi salam, who advises him not to share this with his brothers. He knew of the feelings between one set of brothers, which was from his first wife, and the other two brothers, which were from his second wife. And he knew that there was this sense of competition that was beyond competition. It was more of an agenda of trying to bring Yusuf alayhi salam down. So he says, don't do this because it's going to draw negative sentiments. They're going to start plotting against you. فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا. They're going to start making plans, because this dream was a sign of the greatness of Yusuf alayhi salam to come in future days. And of course, those 11 stars were the brothers, and the sun and the moon were his parents. They had all come and humbled themselves, accepting and acknowledging the authority of Yusuf alayhi salam. Of course, this dream is proven true, and in the story, towards the end of the story, when all the brothers do come and Yusuf alayhi salam's parents do come, and they all fall into prostration. At that time, this was a prostration of greeting and of respect, obviously not of worship. And then Yusuf alayhi salam told his father, Ya abati hada ta'wilu ru'yaya min qabl qad ja'alaha rabbi haqqa. This, now I see the interpretation of that dream that I saw many, many years ago as a child. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it true. Later into the story, when Yusuf alayhi salam is put into prison, and people see his akhlaq, his piety, his truthfulness, and his kind behavior with everyone around him. Two men come and approach him. Both of these men have been remanded pending an investigation. There were very serious allegations against them for plotting to kill the king. They were charged with attempting to poison the king, and the king had been saved from that plot. And both of these men were being held, and investigations were being made as to which one of them or both of them is in fact guilty or not guilty. One of them happened to be the wine server of the king, and the other one was the king's baker. So they come to Yusuf alayhi salam, and the one who was the wine server says that I have seen in my dream that I am pressing grapes. I am pressing grapes to make wine. And the other one says that I see that I'm holding a bunch of bread over my head, and birds are coming and eating from that bread. So tell us, what is the meaning of this dream? And they explained to him, the reason why we're coming to you is inna naraka min al-muhsinin. We see you from those who excel above others. We see you amongst those who are much higher in their behavior, in their piety, and so on and so forth. Yusuf alayhi salam first gives them da'wah and tells them that, look, this knowledge that I have, it has come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't get it mixed up with some form of sorcery or something to do with your customs and traditions and the practices of your priests. No, this has come to me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah has given this to me because I have left the ways of the people of shirk and I have followed the ways of my forefathers. And he talks about Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ishaq alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam. I am a follower of their deen. And then he gives them open da'wah to accept one God as their God. And he gives them proofs and so on and so forth. Then he gives the interpretation after all of this. He says, you who saw yourself pressing grapes, well, you are going to be exonerated. You're going to be set free. You will be proven innocent. And you will be restored to your previous position of serving the king. And you who saw yourself carrying bread over your head and birds eating it, well, you are going to be executed. And at that time, the form of execution was to crucify the person, where they would be strung up on a cross-like structure, and they would be tied, and stakes would be driven into their extremities, and their legs would be shattered. It was a very painful kind of a death that was given. And he said, what you saw was, in fact, that was your dead body, and birds such as vultures and so on are going to be coming and pecking at your head after you have died. So it was just a matter of a few days, and both saw the interpretation of Yusuf alayhi salam to be precise and exact. And that Yusuf alayhi salam told him that you will be set free from here. He told him at that time that make mention of me to your master. Tell the king that I'm here and this is the situation. Khair, he forgot. Now time passes, years pass. And now the third dream that's mentioned in the story is the dream of the king himself. And in this dream, he sees 7 fat cows, 7 fat, healthy cows, and then 7 thin, lean cows are coming and eating them up. And he sees 7 green ears of grain, and he sees 7 dried up ones. Now this dream is bothering him. He feels that it's meaningful. So he asks his people to give some kind of interpretation. Tell me what this means. It was a very clear dream. It was a very powerful dream. And I have a feeling that I'm being told something. People around him said, we think these are just random things, random images that you're seeing in your dream. Adghathu ahlam. And the other thing is, وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. We don't know so much about the interpretations of dreams. That's when the servant of the king, that wine presser or the wine server, remembered Yusuf alayhi salam. He said that I know who can tell you the meaning of this. There's one person. So send me to him. So he came to Yusuf alayhi salam and he said, Yusuf wa ayyuha siddiq. Yusuf, O man of truth. O man of absolute truth. Truthful in his words, truthful in his actions, truthful in his morals and ethics. O man of truth, tell us the meaning of this dream. What are these 7 fat cows being eaten by these 7 thin cows? And what are these 7 green ears and these 7 dried up, almost dead, yellow ears of grain? What does this mean? So Yusuf alayhi salam had this knowledge, like he had told them in the jail that ذَلِكُمَا مِمَّا عَلَّمَنِي رَبِّي. Allah has given me this knowledge. So he not only understood the symbolism of those images, but he also understood, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gave him the knowledge of what needed to be done. One is to give the interpretation, and the other is to give a solution based on a problem that is being shown. The problem that was being shown to the king was that you will have 7 years of prosperity. You will harvest, things will be good, and you will be in a very comfortable state in terms of your food supply for 7 years. But after that, 7 very harsh years are about to come. And those 7 harsh years are going to force you to use up everything. They're going to take away everything from you. And then after these 14 years, 7 prosperous ones and 7 of drought and famine, then there will be another year in which you will have lots of rain and things will be restored. So he gave them the roadmap. This is what you have to follow. You need to farm and use the land, work the land for 7 years consecutively. And use up, he says, تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَأَبًا. دَأَبًا not only means consecutively, but it means very, very diligently. You need to work very, very hard for 7 years. And in this was the hint that you should not leave any farmable land bare and empty. Use every bit of land that you have and use whatever resources that you have to farm and grow as much crop as you can. Then whatever you harvest, don't thresh it. You see, once grains are harvested, they go through a threshing process which separates the grain from the stalk, and then the grain is taken and crushed. So he says, don't thresh the grain, leave it in its ears. And this will in fact help you preserve it. If you separate it, it's going to go bad quickly. So we need you to preserve this. And your focus should be on preserving your stock, not using it. Yes, measure out what needs to be consumed and let the people consume it. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. And after that, the 7 years of hardship, drought, and famine will come. In that, you will use your preserved stock. What you have saved for those 7 years, for the first 7 years, you will use them in the next 7 years. But don't use all of it up. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تُحْسِنُونَ. Leave some of it in the storages, because if you use it all up, then you're not going to have grains to plant once things get better. So he gives them basically a 15-year plan of how they need to act and behave in order to save themselves financially, economically, and just in terms of having food. The king is amazed and he wants to meet Yusuf alayhi salam. So he sends a messenger that the king is summoning you. Yusuf alayhi salam says, no, not so fast. I'm not about to come just yet. I want the king to open up an inquiry. And that inquiry is about some women who got together in a house and they all ended up cutting their fingers. I want the king to go and investigate that on his own. He dropped the hint. He knew the king is an intelligent man. He's going to know what to do from there. So then, of course, the king opened up the investigation. That such an important man, such an intelligent and wise man, is refusing to come out of jail until this matter is investigated. It must be very important. So he investigates and he finds out, okay, well, who called those women? Oh, it was Zulaykha. Why did she call them? This was the issue. Why did they cut their fingers? This is what happened. So the strands and the threads of this began to join, and he figured out the whole picture. And then he realized what Zulaykha had done and how Yusuf alayhi salam had been kept in jail even though he was an innocent man. And then he had her brought, and she openly admitted her mistake, her fault. And again, she used the word, وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. He is a truthful man. I am the one who tried to beguile him, to seduce him. I am the one who tried to get him to do the wrong thing, but he remained truthful and he remained upright. And the story goes on. Now, these were the references to dreams in the Quran, and specifically in Surah Yusuf, which we have, alhamdulillah, recited today. The concept of dreams is such that a lot of people ask about it. And there are some people who completely brush dreams off and don't take them seriously at all. And there are others who take them all too seriously. They dwell on every single kind of dream and it bothers them, it disturbs them. And they might go seeking interpretations for everything that they see. The fact is that there are different types of dreams. Like I mentioned, the dreams of the Anbiya ﷺ are all revelation, so they're all meaningful. When we read the hadiths, we find many dreams that the Prophet ﷺ had. In fact, the first 6 months of his nubuwah, it was all true dreams. And Aisha radiallahu anha says, it's one of the opening hadiths in Sahih al-Bukhari, that every dream that he saw would come true just like the light of day. مثل فلق الصبح. That clearly. Yani, they weren't symbolic dreams where you see symbols representing things that are about to happen. He would see exactly what's going to happen and the events would unfold exactly as he saw them. So for 6 months, this is what the Prophet ﷺ saw. As far as other people's dreams are concerned, there are dreams that are as-salihah, ar-ru'ya as-salihah, or ar-ru'ya as-sadiqah. These are good dreams. These are good dreams and these are meaningful dreams. And then some of them are indicating something that is going to happen or has happened or is happening or instructing a person to do something. These are true dreams. Now, the first thing is that who sees true dreams? Anyone can see a true dream. In this case, it was the king who was not a Muslim, but he saw a dream that was absolute. So anyone can see a true dream, but the hadith says that people who speak the truth, generally speaking, it doesn't say about faith per se, but it says people who are more truthful in their words tend to see more truthful dreams. So one of the ways of seeing true dreams is that a person should maintain truthfulness and honesty in everything that they say and that they do. And these people have the ability. You can see here in Surah Yusuf, you will see Yusuf alayhi salam is referred repetitively as a person of sidq, a person of truth. So not only were his dreams true, his interpretations were also true. The other thing is that some hadiths, not very strong, but there are narrations that say that the dreams that are seen in the last part of the night or in the early morning are more likely to be true. Asdaqur ru'ya bil ashar. It's not a very, very strong hadith, but it is there as a reference, and it is the experience of many people that this is also true. What should a person do when they see a good dream or they see a dream that they feel is true? There are two types of people that a person can share a dream with. So good dreams should be shared with one of two types of people. You can see that Yaqub alayhi salam prohibited Yusuf alayhi salam to share the dream with his brothers. The hadith says that share the dream with somebody who is a true well-wisher of yours, somebody who truly loves you, or somebody who has the intelligence to give you the interpretation. The words used are habiban aw labiban. So this is from the etiquettes of dreams, that don't tell your dreams to anyone and everyone. Make sure the person is either a well-wisher or they're an intelligent, wise person who has this ability to interpret dreams. And one hadith mentions that dreams are on the they're on the claw of a bird, they're on the foot of a bird, and in other words, that they're kind of suspended until someone interprets them. And when someone interprets them, they tend to happen as well. So that's why we want to be careful about giving a premature interpretation of a dream, something that we're not really certain of, but we're saying, oh, this means that. So what happens is this interpretation almost becomes like a dua, that's what you want this dream to turn into, and then it happens. So the hadith tells us that we should be careful. Then there are those dreams that are, they're just random dreams. And these are just the effect of something that a person has on their mind. They're thinking about maybe subconsciously or consciously. It's on their mind, and then they see the effects of that while they're sleeping. These dreams are not necessarily meaningful, and they don't require interpretation. So a person should not be overly preoccupied with thinking about or talking about such dreams. Then there are dreams that are scary, like nightmares, frightening dreams. These are from shaitan. These are from shaitan, and shaitan uses these to scare people, to make them nervous, paranoid, to make them lose their sleep, and all kinds of things. So these dreams should not be shared. We don't need to share dreams that are of the nature of being a nightmare. Whether we should keep them to ourselves. If we wake up from such a dream, then the Prophet ﷺ has taught us that we should read A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. We should blow on over our left side, and we should turn the side that we were sleeping and go back to sleep. As a preventative measure, we should recite the Masnoon du'as. We should recite the Mu'awwidat, especially قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Read these 3 times each before sleeping and blow on ourselves. We should recite Ayatul Kursi, and we should recite those other du'as that the Prophet ﷺ has taught us to recite before sleeping, and if possible, we should sleep in a state of wudu. When we do this, the chances of seeing bad dreams is greatly diminished, and the chances of seeing good dreams is increased. Now, there could be a stubborn shaitan who is chasing around after someone and still giving them a hard time. For that, you might need to make a little bit of extra preparation during the day, read things to really fortify yourself. But these are, in a nutshell, some of the teachings related to dreams. One last thing is that who can interpret dreams? So like Yusuf alayhi salam said, ذَلِكَ مِمَّا عَلَّمَنِي رَبِّي. This was taught to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many ulama say that the knowledge of interpretation of dreams is wahbi. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows it upon certain people. Not everyone has it. This is not something you can gain by reading books. And speaking of books, there is a book that is, it's probably the most used and referenced book in matters of dreams. It's the book that is attributed to Ibn Sirin. And there are translations of it in English and in Urdu, Ta'bir al-Ru'ya. The correct fact is that this book was not compiled by Ibn Sirin. This is not written by Ibn Sirin. There might be some stories in there about him that are true, about his interpretations, but he did not actually compile this book. It was compiled by someone afterwards. Who was the actual compiler? We don't know. And some fuqaha have mentioned that it is not correct, it is not permissible to try to interpret dreams just by looking at some book, some manual of dream interpretation, because each person's dream is different from another person's dream. It is difficult to generalize the symbols, because what may be symbolic of one thing for one person might be symbolic of something completely different for another person. And there are many things that are involved in deciphering those symbols. Knowledge of the Arabic language, knowledge of Quran and the ahkam of the Quran, the stories of the Quran, the lives of the prophets, knowledge of hadith, knowledge of tafsir, knowledge of seerah, and knowledge of history. There are a lot of things that ulama have mentioned that a person should know. And then even a person who knows all these things isn't necessarily a dream interpreter. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, He will then open up the meanings of dreams. And like Yusuf alayhi salam, not just the meanings, but also the solutions to problems that are presented in dreams. These are some teachings. Our deen, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is complete. Our deen covers every aspect of our lives, that which we deal with while we are awake, and even that which we deal with when we are in our sleep. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to follow this deen, to live according to this deen, and to leave this world according to this deen. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Ya arhamar rahimin, ya arhamar rahimin, ya arhamar rahimin. ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وشفاء من كل داء. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا برحمتك واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. إنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت، تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. نستغفرك اللهم من جميع الذنوب ونتوب إليك. وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. اللهم تقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا وتلاوتنا. اللهم وفقنا لما تحبه وترضى، واجعل آخرتنا خيرا من الأولى. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في ديننا ودنيانا وأهلنا ومالنا. اللهم استر عوراتنا وآمن روعاتنا. اللهم احفظنا من بين أيدينا ومن خلفنا وعن أيماننا وعن شمائلنا، ونعوذ بعظمتك أن نغتال من تحتنا. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا. اللهم إنا نسألك فعل الخيرات وترك المنكرات وحب المساكين، وأن تغفر لنا وترحمنا، وإذا أردت بقوم فتنة فتوفنا إليك غير مفتونين. ونسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب عمل يقربنا إلى حبك. اللهم اجعل حبك أحب الأشياء إلينا، واجعل خشيتك أخوف الأشياء عندنا. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك من عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك من عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. آمين.